So Laura Moser is a progressive Democrat. She's running in Texas. Now, she's actually known as one of the heroes of the Trump resistance. So she created this tool that allows people to go and do political activism, which I think is fantastic, right? So, look, in this race, she happens to be under attack, well, understandably. However, the people that are attacking her are supposed to be allies. These are fellow Democrats. But wait a minute. I thought there was supposed to be unity after 2016. Of course not. But maybe you're thinking, okay, look, maybe there's a reason, right? Maybe they're attacking her for a legitimate reason. I mean, something that I'm hearing go around about her is corruption. Okay, well, The Intercept explains. The DCCC, that's the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, took the extraordinary step of publicly attacking a prominent Democratic candidate in a contested primary. This is DCCC Communications Director Meredith Kelly. He talked to the Texas Tribune, and he said, voters in Houston have organized for over a year to hold Representative John Culberson accountable and win this Clinton district. Now, that is, of course, the incumbent Republican in this district. Now, again, it's interesting because he's like, well, Clinton won in this district over Trump, so why couldn't a Democrat actually win here? No, that's what they're trying to do. That's what Laura Moser is trying to do. But again, this is a contentious primary, and here's the DCCC saying, well, don't primary. Let's not run primaries. Let's not especially run primaries to the left. Bad idea. We're going to lose to John Culberson. Okay. Well, that's their opinion. I think primaries are great. But it's going just beyond, hey, primaries, you're going to hurt the Democratic opponent, and we could actually have a really good shot at winning the seat. No, they're saying that, unfortunately, Laura Moser's outright disgust for life in Texas disqualifies her as a general election candidate and would rob voters of their opportunity to flip Texas' 7th in November. Disgust for life in Texas. So, of course, they take her out of context in an article that she had written and use that to smear her. Well, okay, again, that's opposition research. In fact, this is part of an opposition dossier the party had compiled upon Moser. Now, that's actually very rare because normally the party does not release opposition dossiers on candidates. They rarely do so against other Democrats. In fact, they mostly save it for Republicans. So, boy, Laura Moser must have done something incredibly wrong to earn the ire of the DCCC. I'm going to get to that. They said, Democratic voters need to hear that Laura Moser is not going to change Washington. She is a Washington insider who begrudgingly moved to Houston to run for Congress. So, again, here's the DCCC in a very ironic twist, saying, look at that. She's an outsider. No, she's an insider. She's not an outsider. We're the outsiders. But wait a minute. No, the DCCC is the consummate insider. So, I don't know where you're going with this, but it's not looking good. Now, Moser, funny enough, she's a Justice Democrat. Now, that means that you don't take corporate or PAC money. So how can you be an insider if you're not taking insider money? Again, basically the DCCC is saying, no, our candidates, we're the outsiders because we're taking corporate PAC money and running a bunch of ads from consultants. Now, consultants will play into this. Now, again, speaking to what the insiders are in this race, you have Lizzie Peniel Fletcher. Now, Lizzie Peniel Fletcher has been endorsed by the pro-choice women's group Emily's List. Now, look, Emily's List does a lot of great work when it comes to supporting pro-choice candidates. But when it comes to progressives, they haven't exactly been good on that issue, okay? Supporting progressive women candidates who are, again, openly pro-choice. But as the article notes, the DCCC and Emily's List kind of go hand in hand. Or the article mentioned they went hand in glove. So everywhere you see an Emily's List endorsement, for the most part, you will see the DCCC working to endorse the same people. Sometimes it's a progressive, sometimes it's your establishment Democrat. So there's another candidate in the race between Moser and Fletcher, and this guy literally worked for Goldman Sachs. He told people on the campaign that he was recruited by the DCCC. This is according to local indivisible leader Daniel Cohen. So, great. Goldman Sachs guy, Moser, progressive, Justice Democrat, and then Fletcher. Well, what about Fletcher? Well, let me give you some background information on her. Fletcher was a corporate lawyer. Uh-oh. Look, I'm not saying all corporate lawyers are bad, but you're running in a race, you claim to be an outsider, you want to be a progressive. That doesn't necessarily always mesh. But there's more. Apparently, she has ties with a mega donor, steel magnate, and had worked for a firm that routinely represented the interests of big corporations. In fact, that firm that she had worked for recently defeated local janitorial workers in a labor law case. Now, how they did that was a little sketchy. They studied social media feeds to ensure the jury had a healthy number of Trump supporters in it. Now, this is something that they had boasted about publicly. Now, Fletcher said, hey, look, don't blame me. I didn't work on that case. I mean, I didn't work directly on that case. However, this made the local AFL-CIO, so labor union, make a rare non-endorsement in this race. They said, look, if you're going to vote for somebody, don't vote for Fletcher. Do anything you can. We're going to do everything that we can to make sure that Fletcher does not win. So from all that stuff, you can see what side she takes on the issue of corporations versus people power. Seems like a very business-friendly Democrat, your regular corporate Democrat. Okay. Now, other than just, of course, smearing Moser for saying that she has a disgust in living in Texas, as I said before, which again, that she's taken out of context, they've actually levied a more serious charge at Moser. Apparently, they're saying that she is not only corrupt, but she is self-dealing. And this is the part of the story that has to do with political consultants. Now, in 2017, they pointed to Moser paying over $50,000 in campaign money to her husband's DC consulting firm. They said that more than one of every $6 spent by her campaign went straight into her husband's DC company bank account, wrote the DCCC. Oh my God, look at the corruption. Look at the self-dealing. She's taking money for her own campaign money, and she's putting it into her husband's DC consulting firm. Insider. She's an insider. Beware. Better vote for our corporate lawyer friend. Or the Goldman Sachs guy. Anybody but Laura Moser. Anybody but her. Okay. So, now, look. Maybe that does sound a little bit problematic, but let me have the Intercept explain. They said that most of that money that went through that bank account went to ad buys. Now, that means it goes through the bank account and right back out. And instead went to the media for, as I said, TV ad buys. Okay. Well, look. Now, who is Laura Moser's husband? Well, this is Aaron Chaudhary. Sorry, I butchered names. That's what I do in the show. He is a partner at Revolution Messaging. Now, wait, what is Revolution Messaging most well known for? Oh, right. They worked on the 2016 presidential campaign of a one Senator Bernie Sanders. Oops. Now, Daily Action, that's the tool that Moser created to help foster political activism in the era of Trump. That Daily Action and Revolution Messaging had a financial relationship, according to public disclosures. So this is all that we've already known. Okay. Now, so the DCCC is saying, Look at that corruption. Look at that money flowing into her husband's coffers. Again, this is the group, the consulting group, that worked for a campaign that didn't take any corporate money. They didn't take any PAC money. They got their money $27 at a time. So you're going to say that Revolution Messaging is corrupt and that Laura Moser is corrupt for actually putting money through that for television ad buys for her own campaign. All right, man. You want to say that, but again, the DCCC has been doing basically the same thing, but on a massive level. Okay. So, do you want to know what the DCCC's name in Washington is? Nickname, right? They're called the Consultant Factory. As so many of its operatives, according to The Intercept, go on to be campaign consultants working for the party machine. And look, what they do is they make sure that people who get endorsements to the DCCC end up hiring their consultants that they churn out. Now, let me give you an example of this. James Thompson. Now, James Thompson was a congressional candidate in Kansas. Now, he almost beat the seat, or he almost won a special election for a seat vacated by CIA Director Mike Pompeo. Now, he told The Intercept last month that DCCC told him flat out to spend a certain amount of money on their political consultants. And they had to use their list of consultants to choose from. So they give you a list and they say, you've got to spend X amount of money on these specific political consultants. Gee, I wonder which direction these consultants would go. Perhaps they would say, give advice like, don't be too progressive. No, you got to play it safe. And you cannot dare challenge the corporations who fund us. In fact, there was a memo sent to candidates seeking DCCC support last December. They said in exchange for that support, candidates must hire professional staff and consultants who can help execute a winning campaign. And the DCCC will provide staff resumes and a comprehensive list of consultants, as well as helpful resources to the campaign, including staff trainings. Now, that might sound great, but as I said, you don't have a choice. If you want to use a different consulting group, one that doesn't get paid massive amounts of money, well, you're out of luck. You have to choose from the consultants that the DCCC points out. And it's usually ones that end up going through their organization. Now, Lizzie Peniel, according to FEC filings, has taken that deal and retained Blueprint Interactive. Now, Blueprint Interactive is a consulting group that will help their campaign on digital consulting work. Now, she ended up paying the firm $7,500 in September. Now, that firm also lists Emily's List as a client. Emily's List, of course, supports Fletcher's campaign. Now, again, the idea of consultants isn't bad. When I have a consultant that actually watches my show, that I've talked to personally, he's not a bad guy. And a lot of consultants aren't actually bad people, and what they do isn't a bad thing. The problem is that right now we have an elite consultant class in DC that is that has major influence over the Democratic Party. And that's the problem here. They don't actually care about winning campaigns. Why? Because in the case of the DCCC and the Democrats, they still get paid no matter what, and they will always steer you towards television ads. In fact, and of course there's a reason for that, right? Consultants often take a percentage of all media placement of election ads in addition to their consulting fee. Meaning that if a candidate spends more money in television, they get more of a cut. So what are they going to do? You need to buy more ads. Well, in order to buy more ads, which can get expensive, especially in races like California, for example, you're going to have to raise money. You want to raise money, especially lots of it, you're going to have to go and beg corporations for money. That's what's going on here. So, and look, we know that television ads, yes, they do have a role to play, but They don't win elections. You know what wins elections? Knocking on doors, volunteers. And what also helps is actually running on something, a populist campaign. But you don't want to say that around the DCCC. No. Because, look, the fact is that these Democratic consulting groups end up making more money if you do the same thing that most of the Democrats already do. Now, consulting firm Mothership Strategies, for example, earned $3.9 million from the failed special election campaign for John Ossoff. So, now Ossoff, you remember, he ran an incredibly milquetoast centrist campaign. Why? It's because the consultants told him to. The consultants that the DCCC made him consult with told him, run to the center, don't offend the donors, don't stand on anything other than Trump is bad. And what happened? Well, he lost spectacularly. But they got, like I said, about $2.5 million Mothership Strategies got from ad buys. And look, you've got a very deep relationship between the DCCC and paid consultants. In fact, the DCCC's new executive director, Daniel Sania, is married to Elizabeth Christie Sania. After Daniel was named executive director, Elizabeth was made a partner at Greenberg Quinlan Rosner, which is a prominent DCCC consulting firm. And in the 2016 campaign cycle, the DCCC paid GQR $395,000 over 2 years, with Elizabeth Sania not just a partner at the firm, but handling the DCCC account. Wow. And of course, the firm has already pulled in $525,523 so far this campaign cycle. And the firm threw her a party less than a week before Ossoff's loss in Georgia, inviting her husband, which is an event memorialized in Politico's playbook. So, now Fletcher, again, loves corporations, corporate lawyer, and has signed on with the DCCC. Moser is not. She's a Justice Democrat. So she doesn't have the ability to pay consulting firms. And again, Revolution Messaging, which supported the Sanders campaign wanted to get money out of politics. So Revolution Messaging, not necessarily in it for the money, it's not necessarily the same. So of course, Moser, she's in the crosshairs because she has challenged the DCCC, the Democrats' consultants, the elite consulting firms, right? Now, Moser did this by calling them out. Well, not calling out the consultants, actually, but calling out the DCCC for actually supporting pro-choice candidates. In 2017, Moser drew the attention of the DCCC with a piece she wrote in Vogue that goes unmentioned in the party's opposition research. It was headlined, "Want more women to vote? Here's an idea. Stand up for them." Wow, how radical. It went on to slam the DCCC for saying the party would welcome anti-choice candidates. So you have people like Tim Kaine, who is, of course, anti-choice, or at least in his personal beliefs. Now, she wrote, "As a first-time congressional candidate, I've been warned not to criticize Ben Ray Lujan and the powerful Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. I'm running in one of the most competitive House districts in the country, and I'll need all the support, financial and organizational, that I can get from party leaders and organizations. But I cannot hold my tongue while Lujan and the DCCC abandon the commitment to human rights that brought me to the party in the first place." And that, of course, is reproductive rights. Again, she's taking a strong stand for reproductive rights, and Emily's List, which is supposed to be for strong pro-choice candidates, is saying, no, well, we're going to go with your opponent here, because she's backed by the DCCC, she's backed by the money. And of course, again, this is an example of the party pushing back. Now, they've got several different things, excuses that they're using. Oh, no, she can't win. She hates Texans. She's self-dealing. She's corrupt. She is an insider. Basically, everything the DNC, or I'm sorry, the DCCC, they're throwing at her. They're throwing everything but the kitchen sink. And again, the DCCC is literally doing worse when it comes to corruption and self-dealing. So it's complete hypocrisy. And it's another way to try and crush progressives who actually do want to change the system. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.